You can now use Grok AI to create animated stories like this for completely free.
On a quiet windowsill, a tiny light named Lumi dreamed of the world beyond the glass. One small tumble was all it took, and suddenly Lumi was free. But outside, the night felt bigger, darker, and a little scary. Then, through the shadows, Lumi heard someone who needed him. So he shined as bright as he could, showing the way home. When the lights returned, joy followed, and Lumi knew his work was done. As morning came, Lumi faded into the sun, knowing even the smallest light can make a big difference.
No expensive VO3 subscription, no cling credits, just completely free and unlimited AI videos. You see, while most people are still spending a fortune to create AI animated stories, there's actually a secret method that we can use to bypass this. And honestly, it's easier than you think. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use this method to create seamless AI animated stories. I'll walk you through every tool, every prompt, every step, and by the end of this video, you'll be able to bring your wildest stories to life without having to worry about spending too many credits. Like always, all prompts and tools will be in the description below. So to get started, we're going to begin by creating the story that will animate later on. To do this, we'll be using ChatGPT, but you can use any AI that you're most comfortable with. Once we're in ChatGPT, we'll use this simple prompt to create our story. For this example, we want to create a story with 7 scenes in a Disney Pixar animation style, but you can adjust the prompt based on what you want to create. Grok generates videos that are 6 seconds long, so 7 scenes will be roughly 42 seconds of animation. This is the story that ChatGPT made for us, called The Little Light. It follows the journey of a firefly called Lumi as it escapes a glass jar and wanders into a dark park where it miraculously helps a small lost puppy reunite with its owner. You can always adjust the story to your liking, but this looks good, so we'll move on to the next prompt. Now that we have our story, we need to turn each scene into an AI prompt that we can plug straight into Grok. To do this, we'll prompt ChatGPT to turn each scene into a visual AI prompt. We also want to make sure to maintain continuity and the same art style between scenes. And just like that, we have a full story with 7 scenes that are ready to be animated in Grok AI. It even gave us a style guide to apply to all scenes in order to keep things consistent. Now that we have our story and all our prompts, we're ready to move on to step 2, which is where we'll generate the starting frame of our animation. First, we'll open up Grok Imagine. Once we're at the home page, we need to change a very important setting. So we'll go to our profile, click on Settings, then click Behavior. Now we'll make sure to deselect the option that says Enable Automatic Video Generation. This will stop Grok from automatically generating videos before we even have a chance to enter our video prompt. In the prompt box, we'll make sure that image is selected along with a 16:9 aspect ratio. Then we'll copy our first scene prompt from ChatGPT and paste it in the Grok prompt box. Grok automatically generates plenty of options, but this one is definitely my favorite. To help keep track of our generations, we'll also click on the 3 dots and click Save. With our start frame ready, it's time for step 3, which is to generate the first scene using this start frame. Grok allows us to select the type of video preset that we want to generate, but we'll leave this be for now. For our video prompt, we'll copy and paste our scene 1 prompt again, and then click Generate. This is our first result. It's not bad, but honestly, it's not the best. Lumi's antennae are phasing through the glass jar. Let's click Redo and see if we can generate something better. After a few more generations, this result is perfect. It even nailed Lumi's reflection in the background. To make this generation even better, we'll click the 3 dots and select Upscale Video. So this is the final result for scene 1. Don't forget to download your best generations as you go, so you have them ready to put together at the end. Now it's time for step 4, which is to seamlessly extend scene 1 into scene 2. First, we'll drag the video slider to the end, then right-click and select Copy Video Frame. This allows us to use the last frame of scene 1 as the first frame for scene 2, making the transition as smooth as possible. From here, we'll go back and make sure that image is selected. Then we'll paste our video frame. After that, all we have to do is copy and paste our scene 2 prompt, then click Generate. With this particular prompt, Grok seems to be struggling a lot, so we'll tweak it slightly. Let's specifically mention that Lumi pops open the jar and magically opens the window. The result looks much better. The rest of the scenes follow the same process. We just copy the end frame of the previous scene and use that as the start frame for our next scene. So let's continue with scene 3. We'll copy the end frame of scene 2, then we'll go back and paste it into the prompt box to make it the start frame for scene 3. After copying and pasting our scene 3 prompt from ChatGPT, this is the final result. We'll do one more example using the start and end frames. This time, we'll take the end frame of scene 3 and use it as the start frame for scene 4. Then we'll paste in our scene 4 prompt from ChatGPT. And this is the outcome. But what if we want to start a new scene from a completely new shot? Well, let's skip ahead to scene 6, where the lost puppy is reunited with its owner. For this generation, instead of using the end frame of the last scene as the start frame for this scene, we'll just paste in our scene 6 prompt and generate a new start frame for this scene. This one works perfectly. Then we'll just paste in our scene 6 prompt again to generate our video. And this is the final result. Notice how consistent the characters are still, even with a brand new start frame. After generating all our scenes, we're now going to tie it all together by generating a narration. We could use Google AI Studio for this, since it's the best free method to generate narrations. But we'll go with 11 Labs since it gives us the best quality and is still very affordable. So, first we'll go back to ChatGPT and simply ask it to generate a narration that perfectly accompanies each scene. But here's the thing. We don't just want to know what is being said, we also want to know how it's being said. So, we'll prompt ChatGPT to describe how each line should be said. Now we're ready to generate our voiceover on 11 Labs. First, we'll click on Text to Speech and make sure that we change our model to 11 Labs v3. This is what will allow us to describe exactly how each line is spoken. After that, we'll click Voice and select the one that suits our story best. Let's go with James, since it's labeled as a narrative and story voice. Now we'll paste in our narration from ChatGPT and click Generate. The last step is to edit everything together. I'll be using CapCut, but you can use whatever editing software you're most comfortable with. First, we'll drop in all of our scenes and our voiceover. Then we'll make sure everything lines up nicely. At this point, we can add in any extra transitions, effects, or finishing touches. After finishing the edit, this is the final result.
On a quiet windowsill, a tiny light named Lumi dreamed of the world beyond the glass. One small tumble was all it took, and suddenly Lumi was free. But outside, the night felt bigger, darker, and a little scary. Then, through the shadows, Lumi heard someone who needed him. So he shined as bright as he could, showing the way home. When the lights returned, joy followed, and Lumi knew his work was done. As morning came, Lumi faded into the sun, knowing even the smallest light can make a big difference.
So that's how you can create free and unlimited AI animated stories using Grok AI. But here's the thing, just because you know how to create these stories doesn't mean that you're now able to create the best stories. Ultimately, there are 5 levels of skill when creating AI animations. And if you want to know where you currently fall and how to improve, then click the video on screen.